Kazuha is a character that has been at top of the meta since 1.6. And finally, his throne has been challenged because we have somebody that's coming to try and beat him at his own game. So let's talk about it. What's going on, YouTube? Leisure here once again, this time at you again with some more Genshin Impact. And it's time to talk about my wife, Xilonen. Yep, she's coming. She's coming next week. And, I can't wait. Trust and believe. I'm trying to make sure I can do every single thing that I can do to make sure that woman gets on my account. Which is tough. When you're playing all kinds of different gacha games. If you guys are playing all the different gacha games, all the different popular ones going on right now, I feel bad for you because it's been a hectic time. It's been a hectic time. Just back to back. Need this character, need that character, need this character, need that character. And, well, I'm telling you right now, Xilonen is one of the top ones. Why is that? Why is Xilonen one of the top ones? Well, it's because she's hot, of course. But there's other reasons. There's other reasons. And that is meta. People have been saying that she is here to power creep Kazuha, throw Kazuha on the bench. It's time for him. 1.6 to 5.1 is long enough. You need to sit down and rest. Now, is that truly the case? Is she really power creeping Kazuha? Well, I gotta say, not so much. It's close. It's worth the discussion. But for those of you who are curious of which one is better, which one you want your account more, if you only were able to choose one, well, let's talk about them and their kits. Because, well, to start off, you don't really want to choose one at the end of the day because they're both really good. They're both fantastic. The whole saying, both is good.
Both is good.
You need two teams in the Abyss, so you can have Xilonen on one side and Kazuha on the other. And then, of course, we have Imaginary Theory, where the more characters, the better you have. This isn't something where you really want to choose one, because no matter what, Kazuha is not getting benched, even if you have Xilonen, because there's going to be uses where Kazuha has advantage, and there's going to be uses where Xilonen has advantage. And then there's going to be situations where both of them on the same team is the most advantageous thing you can do. But let's get back to comparing them. Now, let's talk about the kits. Why are people keep saying that they are so similar? Why are people saying that she's power creeping them? Well, it's because she can do what Kazuha does, and she can heal, right? So, what does Kazuha do? Kazuha, for those of you who don't know, Kazuha is somebody, whenever he swirls an element, he's able to buff that element based on his elemental mastery, up to 40% if you have 1,000 EM. Typically, you want to get as close to that 1,000 EM as you can. Most people don't get that far, but as long as you get enough to do a 35 to 40% boost in your elemental damage, that's enough. And then he has a Veritas and Veronir set, which shreds elemental resistance by 40% for 10 seconds whenever he swirls an element. And this is one of the best sets in the game when it comes to support, and he's able to use that perfectly. So Kazuha's main things is that he's able to shred elemental resistance and buff elemental damage, right? Which is fantastic, right? Which boosts damage by a lot when you're doing both of those things at the same time. But what does Xilonen do? Well, Xilonen kind of does the same thing, because Xilonen in her kit shreds elemental resistance. And then with the new set in Natlan, Scroll of the Hero of Cinder City, it's able to, it's a lot of words here, but basically a Natlan character is going to be able to buff elemental damage by 40%. Now, doesn't that sound familiar, right? So basically, when it comes to the shred that they do, the elemental shred that they do, and the elemental damage that they buff, it's essentially the same. So that's why it's so similar. But there are some differences with the two. One of which is that, to get into specifics, Xilonen, her buff and shred tends to last a little bit longer than Kazuha's, right? Because one problem with Kazuha's is that it only lasts for 10 seconds, which isn't a long time. And Kazuha needs to be on field for this to work. So once Kazuha's off the field, that timer's ticking. And if hers lasts longer, then, well, that puts more situations where you're going to want her to do it instead. So that's one reason as to why. But also, she heals. And having somebody that can heal is huge. Now, let's not underestimate what Kazuha brings instead, which is grouping, right? Because with Kazuha's grouping, in many situations, that is a game changer, right? When you're dealing with mobs or spread out and you do a Kazuha E, suck them all in, that can take up a lot of time instead of trying to go from here, there, trying to pick them off one by one. So in certain situations, grouping could be even better than healing. It all depends on the situation that you're in. But if you're facing a boss, well, you don't need to group the boss, but you need to heal when that guy hits you in your face. And Xilonen does that, right? She heals, and role consolidation is one of the most advantageous things in games like this, where if you have somebody that can buff, debuff, and heal, then that opens quite a lot of doors, because you can have other characters on the team buffing or debuffing or doing whatever they do, adding additional damage, while that healer that also covers other roles is allowing for more doorways to open. And that's what Xilonen is doing. She's doing what Kazuha does while taking up the healer slot. Therefore, now you can put in characters like Farina, you can put in characters like Xilonen, you can put in all kinds of different characters. You can even put in another healer like Bennett and call it a day, because he's also another role consolidator. It opens up a lot of different possibilities. That kind of puts Xilonen over the edge in that category. But that's not all there is to it, of course. There's more to it, because there's different situations where Kazuha might be the better pick for your team. And I'd say those situations where Kazuha is able to double swirl, because double swirling is something that takes some knowledge of how the game works and everything, because when you have rotations down, you're able to have situations where you can have more than one element on the team, and Kazuha buffs and debuffs both those elements for you, right? I used to do that a lot with my Hu Tao VV Vape teams. That's just something that Xilonen is not going to be able to do. The simple fact that you can get the entire buff and debuff on more than one element is huge in a lot of cases. Because like in that Hu Tao VV Vape team, where I'm buffing Xilonen and Hu Tao at the same time, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage that's going on. And in those situations where you have more than one element on the team dealing a large amount of damage, then Kazuha might be the one for you. Obviously, swirlable elements, of course. And if you have a C2 Kazuha too, he buffs EM. So in those situations, Kazuha is going to win out. So again, it all depends on what situations that you want them to be in. But at the end of the day, I gotta say, Xilonen is looking like the more valuable, more powerful unit. If I were to make a tier list, I would put her up higher based on the information that we know on her as of now. Things can change when she comes, Typically, my mind does change after I get to play with the character myself and test them out, so on and so forth. But based on the information I have, I am putting my value, I'm putting my stocks in Xilonen, because especially while we're in the region of Natlan, because we're going to be getting new Natlan characters. And yeah, their kits have different advantages and so on and so forth. But when we're in Natlan characters are leading the charge, mainly because of their mechanics of the Night Soul Burst. They're adding certain things to their kit where you want to play them with the other Natlan characters. And that's just going to add even more reason why you should do it. And these Natlan characters are powerful. They're strong. They are very strong. I have Mualani right now, and she's at C1, and she's popping a million like it's nobody's business. I'm not even doing huge setups. She's just popping a million, in her sleep. This is crazy, And the fact that she's going to be able to help characters at that power level even more than Kazuha can is just crazy. It's outrageous. So I am putting my stocks in her. I do think she's going to be the more valuable unit as of right now, especially with the fact that she can heal. And the fact that you can, since she's role consolidating, you can put another grouper in to kind of make up for the fact that Kazuha isn't grouping, or you can have Kazuha with the grouper on there, right? In there too, alongside. But it's a fantastic thing. Xilonen is definitely, quite honestly, one of the closest things we're getting to a must pull since Farina, and it is what it is. This girl, I don't know why they made her so powerful. This is Archon level types of work here going on, right? Which makes me kind of worry. Well, how powerful is the Archon gonna be, you know? But that's a story for another time. We'll see what happens when she gets here. But when she comes, trust and believe, Xilonen is gonna be on the team, shredding Pyro and buffing Pyro at the same time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys pulling for Xilonen? Are you guys skipping like madmen? Which one are you guys doing? Definitely comment your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you like the content I'm giving. Of course, subscribe to the channel so you can get more content like this. Without here, let you know.